Today in accounts, we'll start lesson number 6, subsidiary books, page number 126. Now see, what do we mean by subsidiary books and why does subsidiary books is needed to be prepared? Okay, so why does subsidiary books came into existence? For the answer for this question will be that there is some limitations of journal, and because of that limitations of journal there was a need to prepare the subsidiary books. Fine. Now see, which are the limitations of journal? We have already studied in lesson number 4 journal. Okay, but again we'll just go through once, and you know what do you mean by journal. Whenever you are recording the transaction for the first time, that is you are recording it in journal. Okay, that is journal entry. When the number of transactions are large in number, entering all the transactions will become difficult, and these are the limitations of journal. See, here they have given 5 limitations. While writing every transaction, the account name has to be mentioned. Okay, so for example, there are number of transactions taking place of purchase 100 to 200 times. So every time you will write down purchase account debited on different dates. So that again that will be a problem. Then second, an individual posting of each account has debit and credit, and hence involve the repetitive journalizing and posting work. 100 or 200 times if purchase is coming, then again you have to write down purchase account debited, and you have to do and go to the ledger posting work also. So that will be again tedious work. The journal becomes bulky and voluminous and become difficult to manage. Same type of transaction, number of times it is taking, then it becomes bulky and voluminous. Such accounting system does not provide information on the prompt basis. See, on the prompt basis is if you want to know, that is quickly if you want to understand that how many times purchase have taken place in a month. So exactly you cannot get the exact number. You have to count it. Okay. So again that is one of the limitation, and this limitation will be solved out in subsidiary book that we will see later on. Next, see, it becomes very difficult to implement effective internal control system as number of transactions are so many. Internal control becomes little bit difficult. Okay, so in order to overcome this limitation, the journal is subdivided into subsidiary books. Clear? Because of the use of computer, these limitations have been neutralized because of the computer work. Okay, when accounts are being entered through computer, these limitations have become, that is, it is nil now. It has neutralized, means it has become zero. For the large number of transactions which are repetitive, a separate book of journal is kept. For example, credit purchase is there, credit sales, cash sales, etc. Specific transactions are noted in specific books. Such separate books of journal are known as subsidiary books. There are many subsidiary books, 8 to 9 subsidiary books. Okay. So, for example, credit sales is taking place, so there will be sales book. Credit purchase is taking place, so there will be a separate purchase book. Cash sales or cash transactions are taking place, so there will be a separate cash book. So there are number of types of subsidiary books that we will see. Firstly, meaning of subsidiary book. Subsidiary book refers to the journal kept for specific transaction of similar nature. See, specific transaction means for only purchase, that is credit purchase, there will be only purchase book. So specific transaction for similar nature, okay, for same type of nature. So all the different types of credit transactions related to purchase will be recorded only in purchase book. Clear? So this you just tick mark, that is the definition of subsidiary book. Subsidiary book is also known as day book. What is the another name of subsidiary book? So the another name of subsidiary book is day books. A separate book for each subdivision is maintained. For example, for recording all credit purchase transaction, purchase book is prepared, and for recording all credit sales transaction, sales book is prepared. Now see, remember, in purchase book, only credit purchases are recorded. Cash purchases will never come in purchase book. Same way, in sales book, only credit sales will be recorded. Cash sales will not come in this book. So remember this, that in sales book and in purchase book, only credit transactions are recorded where the payment of cash is not done immediately. Whenever there is cash transaction related to purchase and sales, that will not be recorded in purchase book and sales book, but it will be recorded in cash book. Clear? Now see, we will see how many types of subsidiary books are there. So first, see, first is cash book, that is also known as cash journal. Here there are 3 types of cash book. Again, in the next lesson you are going to study the sums based on cash book, that is simple cash book. In columnar cash book there will be 2 columnar cash book, either cash and bank, then cash or and discount, or cash and bank and discount, so there will be two columnar, which is known as two columnar cash book. Again I am saying here cash and bank, okay, then cash and discount, then bank and discount, okay. So these are the two columnar cash book. Then there will be three columnar cash book. In three columnar cash book, all the three will be prepared together, that is cash, bank and discount, okay. And in simple cash book there will be only single column which is for cash transaction, okay. So the first subsidiary book is your cash book, fine. For recording cash transaction, for recording cash and bank transaction, or cash and discount, or bank and discount, and here all the three will be recorded together, that is cash, bank and discount. So your first subsidiary book is cash book. Then see further, that is goods subsidiary book. So goods subsidiary books, so that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return book, okay. In purchase book all the credit purchases will be recorded. In sales book only credit sales are recorded. In purchase return only credit purchase return, and in sales return only credit sales return. And sums which you are supposed to do in this chapter, so sums are only based on this four subsidiary books, okay. For cash book there are no sums, okay, and for other books also, that is bills receivable or journal proper, sums are not there right now in this particular chapter. In this chapter sums are only related to this four books, that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return book, okay. Then see further, subsidiary books for bills. So bills receivable book, bills payable book. What do you mean by bills? That you will study in your part 2 accounts textbook, that we'll see later on. Then journal proper. So what do you mean by journal proper? For recording transaction not covered elsewhere. So till now here, whichever transactions are not covered, that all transactions will come to journal proper. Again this is a chapter which will separately study, clear? So these are the different types of purchase book. So cash book, then 4 books are coming here, 2 books is here, and journal proper is your last one, okay. So mainly 4 types of different subsidiary books are there, and in that again there is the bifurcation for different types of books which is related to goods, cash, then bills, and then lastly journal proper, clear? We'll go and move on to advantages of subsidiary book. See, first advantage is what? Division of work. So here the work is separated. Purchase book, in that only credit purchases will take place. Sales book, so in that only sales transaction, that is credit sales transaction will take place. Here division of labor, you can assign separate person for purchase book, you can assign separate person for doing the sales book, you can assign separate person for the bills receivable book, okay, or bills payable book. So here the division of labor also takes place. Is this clear? So these are the 2 advantages of a subsidiary book. Further see, subsidiary books for goods. The items with which the business enterprise or entity deals is called goods by them. As per the study in previous chapter, cloth is goods for clothing trader, that we have already seen, okay. A person who is dealing in whichever item will be treated as goods for that person. The books in which the business entity record credit purchase and sales and return transaction are called goods subsidiary books. In goods subsidiary books we have already seen here, that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return book, fine. Hence there are 4 types of subsidiary books of goods. So see, it is again explained here. Purchase book, so only credit purchase will take place. Sales book, so only credit sales will take place. Purchase return book, so only credit purchase return will take place. And in sales return book, only credit sales return. So in short, in all these 4 books, only credit transactions are supposed to be recorded, fine. Now we will move on to our first book, that is purchase book. Subsidiary book in which only credit purchase transactions are recorded is called purchase book. This will be the explanation. For example, it is asked, what do you mean by purchase book? So subsidiary books where only credit purchase transactions are recorded is called purchase books. The goods in which a trader deals in credit purchase and sales, the credit purchase details are recorded in purchase book, fine. Cash purchase transaction and purchase of any other asset. See here, if you are purchasing asset or there is cash transaction, so in that case it won't be recorded in this particular book. In purchase book, cash purchase is also not recorded, plus purchase of any other asset, either it is cash or credit, asset will not come, because this is only purchase books for goods, okay. So this is only for goods. Partial cash transaction and partial credit transactions are considered as credit transactions and are to be recorded in purchase book. Suppose 10,000 goods are the goods of 10,000 rupees are purchased and 5,000 is given in cash and 5,000 is treated as credit transaction which will be paid on later on. So here half amount is paid in cash, half amount is not paid, but the transaction will be treated as credit transaction only and thus it will be recorded in the purchase book. If it is not half and partially, it is like for example 4,000 is given in cash and remaining 6,000 is not paid, then also we will consider it as a credit transaction only. So net amount of credit purchase of good is recorded in the purchase book. Net amount of purchase from where you will get, so total amount of credit purchase minus trade discount. Okay, so we will consider the whole transaction as one transaction only, and though we have paid few amount, little bit of amount in cash, then also we will treat it as credit transaction. Only discount will be deducted. Trade discount is not recorded in the books. That you have already learned in lesson number 4 journal also, that cash discount is recorded but trade discount is never recorded. Purchase book can be maintained in different ways. Mainly purchase book can be maintained in the following two ways. That is, one is simple purchase book, columnar purchase book. In columnar purchase book with a column of according to types of goods and expenses purchase book, columnar purchase book. So these are the three purchase book you are going to study. One is simple purchase book, second is purchase book related to types of goods, and third is that is goods and expenses column in the purchase book. So these are the three types of purchase book which we are going to study. We will see the format of this first of all. See now. This is the format for simple purchase book. Okay, specimen of simple purchase book. So purchase book of Shri, this is the way how you will prepare the purchase book. Okay, see now what is there, date will be there, then name of supplier, okay, the person from whom you are purchasing. So here remember, whenever you are preparing purchase book, you will write down your name of supplier. Here there will be inward invoice number, then LF column and then amount column. Okay, so these are the columns which you are supposed to prepare for the purchase book: date, name of supplier, inward invoice number, LF number and amount. Now we will see the columnar purchase book. Okay, for that, see here. Suppose there are three types of different items of goods in which we are dealing, that is TV, refrigerator and floor. Okay, so see here what is the format for the specimen for this columnar purchase book, which is record according to the types of goods. So date is there, again name of supplier same, inward invoice number same, LF number also same. Here there was only lastly see amount, that is amount column was there. So this amount column is divided into three types of goods in whichever you are dealing, that is TV, refrigerator and floor mills. Three different types of goods you are selling. Okay, and then lastly again the total amount will come. Okay, so this is known as a specimen of columnar purchase book according to type of goods. Now there was one more, that is related to expenses. See, so this is related to expenses, that is net amount of goods. These are different expenses, railway freight, wages. So whichever expenses they have given to us, that will come. Then in GST chapter we have studied, okay, intrastate supply. So input CGST, input SGST and interstate supply IGST. So total amount. So like this different type of expenses will be there. So when different type of expenses are there, this will be the format of column. Here this is again same, date, name of supplier, invoice number, that is inward invoice number, LF number. Again the amount column is to be divided into the types of expenses whichever is mentioned in the sum. Okay, so here today we have studied, that is three types of purchase book. One is simple purchase book, one is purchase book related to items. Here for example you are dealing in table, fan, light. So here you will put the columns like this. Here there are different, see here it is again shown, table, chair, cupboard. So these are the types of goods. Then expenses type. So like this the expenses types will be there. Okay, now see the details. Date. In above specimen, first column is of the date. The date on which credit purchase transaction has taken place is to be recorded in this column. Then it is name of supplier. In this column, name of supplier from whom goods are purchased and the details of goods purchased. For example, how much goods is purchased of rupees 10,000. So of what quantity, 10 kg or whatever. Okay, and the name of the supplier will be recorded. Inward invoice number, that is bill number. The number of bill or invoice issued by the supplier is recorded in this column. ledger folio number, the page number of the ledger on which the account amount is credited in the account of the concerned supplier is recorded in this column. For example, you would be doing the ledger posting from this subsidiary book, so that page number of that ledger posting book you will write down in this book, that is subsidiary book. Amount of net purchase which is arrived after deducting trade discount is recorded in this column. Okay, so here these were the details of the purchase book. Now come to page number 133. We will be seeing sales book. See, it is same in purchase book, whatever you have studied that only, but only here there is credit sales and there was credit purchase. So see, a subsidiary book which is used for the purpose of recording the sale of goods on credit called sales book. In any business, the credit sales of the goods in which the deals is recorded in sales book. Cash transaction and asset, same thing, cash sales and asset. So there also we have studied that cash purchases and assets purchased are not to be recorded. Same way the sales transaction which is taken on the basis of cash and asset sales of the transaction are not recorded in the books. Clear? This type of transactions are recorded in cash book. Net amount of sales of goods is recorded in the sales book. Net amount means that is total credit sales after deducting the trade discount is taken into consideration. Fine. Same way here also partial goods are if sold, then we have to consider is partial goods are sold on cash, then we have to consider that the whole transaction is of credit sales only. Okay. Sales book types. See, simple sales book where there is only amount column. Types of good where either chair, table or this are there, or saris, cotton sari, silk sari, lycra sari. So there, that is types of goods, and with the column of expenses, that is freight, octroi, CGST, SGST, that all we are supposed to record it. So what you have studied in purchase book, same way here also 3 types of sales books are there. Clear? Format will be same, only a little bit of difference is there, that is in place of name of supplier there will be name of customer here, and in place of inward invoice number there will be outward invoice number. See, same format as we have studied in purchase book. Date, here name of supplier was there, so in case of sales book there will be name of customer. Here there was inward invoice number, so here there will be outward invoice number, LF and amount. This is your simple cash book. Then for the column of that is goods, so again same name of supplier, outward invoice number, table, chair, cupboard. Clear? This will be in case of types of goods. Then we will see that is again see here mobile phone, cordless phone, simple phone. So this is also details of types of goods. In case of expenses, so see number of goods, that is net amount of goods, then railway freight, labor and other GSTs. Okay, so this is the detail for the expense column. Clear? So same concept is there for purchase book and sales book, that is only credit transactions are allowed, cash transaction are not allowed, assets are also not allowed. If partially, that is 4,000 you have given in cash and remaining amount is to be given in credit, then full amount will be recorded as a credit sale or credit purchase. Now come to page number 138. We will see our third book, that is purchase return book. 2 types of purchase return book and sales return book. Generally, goods once purchased are returned under the following circumstances. See, when you need to return the goods which you have purchased earlier. So see, when the goods are not as per the sample, when goods are of inferior quality in compared to what you have ordered, when goods are in a damaged condition, or to get the rebate or refund by returning container or packing of the goods. Goods are not delivered at time, then in that case also you can return the goods returned by any other reason. Rebate means discount. Okay, here that is mentioned to get the rebate or refund, so this is known as discount. So in case of containers and packaging of the goods, okay, you are returning the containers in which the goods were packed, or you are returning the packaging material in which the goods were packed and sent to you. So in that case you can get the little bit of discount. Clear? So under this circumstances goods are returned. Okay, so here again same purchase return book, same 3 types: simple return, then simple purchase return book, then with types of goods, and here with the types of columns of goods and expenses. Same what you have studied in purchase book and sales book. Here little bit of change is that, see, date, purchase return, so name of supplier only will come. Here you were writing inward invoice number, so here what you will write down, you will write down debit note number, LF and amount. Same way if it is sales return book, then what will be the changes taking place? Date. In place of name of supplier, what you'll write down? Name of customer. In place of debit note number, what you'll write down? Credit note number, LF and amount. Okay. Then see further. This is for types of goods. This is for, that is, goods and expenses. Okay. Same way when you will study the sales return book, again same 3 types of books. Okay. Now what will be the format here? So see, in place of name of supplier, here it is name of customer. In place of debit note number, what it is here? So credit note number is there. Okay. Then again same expenses column, and again same goods and expenses column. Okay. So here remember that the details are same. Okay, for purchase and sales book and purchase return book and sales return book. Only what is the difference? In purchase book you will write down name of supplier and inward invoice number. In case of sales book, what you will write down? Name of customer and outward invoice number. In case of purchase return book, in place of inward invoice number there will be debit note, and in sales return book, in place of outward invoice number there will be credit note. Okay, so only this is the difference which you are going to study, and sums you will be doing on this 4 books only. Okay, whichever sums are there backside in the exercise, only the sums are based on, that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return book. Now we will see our next book, that is bills receivable book, which is on page number 149. But see, there are no sums to be done. This you are supposed to learn only for the theory purpose. Okay, bills receivable book. When a seller has to receive payment from some customer at times, generally the seller draw necessary bill. Okay, when you are selling something and you are going to receive the payment, so on the spot the payment is not done, but what the person is doing, he is issuing the bill for the same due, whatever amount you are supposed to take from him. The customer accept and record such bill and return to the seller. Such bill is known as bills receivable, which you are going to study in detail. Same way, the person who draws it, it is known as bills payable. If you are supposed to give money to someone, you will draw bills payable. If you are supposed to receive money from someone, you will issue bills receivable. Fine. For the holder of such bill, it is bills receivable. Details of the bills receivable from the various customer is kept in bills receivable book. And see, this is the specimen of bills receivable book. Bill number, date of bill and its receipt, name of the acceptor who is accepting this bill, that he or she will pay you so and so amount on so and so particular date. Period of bill, it will be 1 month, 15 days, 3 months, whatever. What is the condition? Sometimes you are giving something in lease or on custody basis. Then date of maturity. Date of maturity, after, suppose the bill is issued in the month of July and it is of 2 months, then July, August. So which date is coming for August or September, that you will record here. Place of payment, where the payment will be done, what amount will be there, remark and alif number. So this is the specimen of bills receivable. Clear? Then after this there will be bills payable. So see, same way here, bills payable book, a person to whom you have to pay money, a bill drawn by other party is accepted by you because you are supposed to pay him. Okay, so here the specimen of bills payable is there, that is bill number, date of acceptance when you are accepting, date of drawer. See here, what was there? Bill and receipt and name of acceptor. Here the name of drawer will come. Then date of bill, period of bill, condition, date of maturity, LF, amount, this will all be same. Then there will be cash book. So cash book, there are 3 types of cash book: simple cash book, 2 columnar cash book and 3 columnar cash book. This you are going to study in the next chapter after this only. In short, remember, whichever cash transaction takes place will be recorded in cash book. Then it is, what is there? Journal proper. So in journal proper, what is there? Journal proper is prepared to record the transactions which are not recorded in any of the above 7 subsidiary books. Okay, so above 7 subsidiary books we have seen. In that, whatever is recorded and something is left out which are not coming under these books, these 7 books, then everything is recorded in the journal proper. So here our theory portion gets over, and now we will be moving on to the sums.